Today, I'm going to let you in on 8 more reasons you should move to Vernon, and we're starting now. I'm Lisa Salt with Remax Vernon Salt Fowler, and in our first video called Looking to Move to Vernon BC, 8 Reasons Why You'll Love It, we talked about 8 general reasons why Vernon is awesome. And then I realized there are way more reasons why I love Vernon, and I'm sure you will too. So here I am again talking about those 8 more reasons. But before we do, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and like this video, as we're posting new videos like this every single week, and we would love to have you as a subscriber. On this channel, we give you the straight goods on Vernon and the whole Okanagan, our ultimate 4 seasons paradise. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days or just curious about the area that we call home, be sure to call, text, or email and just add salt. At the end of this video, I'll tell you how to download our free relocation package featuring, where else? Vernon BC, so stick around. As I said in our first video, we talked about the 8 reasons you'll love Vernon. And if you haven't watched that video, you probably should. It looks like this. However, these next 8 reasons aren't in any particular order, so no reason to have to watch that video first. Watching it second is just fine. Now let's start these next 8 reasons as to why you will love to move to Vernon by talking about why we call the Okanagan the sunny Okanagan. Sun is number 1 on our list. Hours of sunshine. If there is no other great reason to move to Vernon, this is one of the best reasons that I can think of. The mean monthly sunshine hours for the year for Vernon is 2,026 hours. That is awesome. That's a lot of hours. When you combine that with the relatively low amounts of rain at 333 centimeters average annual rainfall per year, that is also a big deal for me. I mean, I understand there are times when we need rain, obviously. We don't want to invite forest fires, that's for sure. And we want it to turn to snow up on the ski hills, and we want to fill up the lakes, and we want to water our lawns. However, we don't want too much rain. And for me, and for many, 333 centimeters isn't too much. It's not too little. It's just right. As long, of course, as the rain comes at the right time. Like for 2022, it all came in the spring. Not enough to flood, yet more than enough to stave off forest fires for pretty much the entire summer. So that to me is the recipe for success. If Mother Nature could please just repeat that over and over again, I would be in favor of that big time. Second on our list is the fabulous trail systems we have in Vernon. As we already know, Vernon and the Okanagan is a great place to enjoy the outdoors in all 4 of our fabulous seasons. Saying that though, Greater Vernon really shines in the hiking and walking trails department. There are some just fabulous hikes around, starting with the easiest of all the hikes, generally determined a walk or a flat ride, which is the rail trail. After a 2-year community fundraising campaign and a series of grants, this previous CN rail line was converted into this amazing trail running between Vernon and Kelowna. Well, it's actually not quite continuous from Vernon to Kelowna yet, however, it will be one day. Over 24 kilometers of the rail trail follows lakeshore and creeks, so the scenery and wildlife is pretty awesome. Then when you go across Kalamalka Lake, you have Kalamalka Provincial Park, where there are tons of trails, not just for hiking, however, also for biking and horseback riding as well. In this park alone, there's 22 trails ranging from 226 to 3,274 feet in elevation gain. Tons to see and explore here, including the incredible views, of course, over Kalamalka Lake, which is a marl lake, which means when the lake warms in the summer, the dissolved limestone crystallizes and gives the lake its distinct blue and green color, kind of like the Caribbean. And most importantly, to the 4-legged variety, there's a trail leading down to the dog beach as well. Another great trail is the Grey Canal Trail. It's a huge trail system in 4 distinct sections throughout the area that back in the day was an old irrigation system alignment around Vernon. And when the ditches were replaced with buried pipes, the system was no longer in use, and now it's used for hiking, biking, horseback riding. There's beautiful scenery from these trails as well, and stunning views, just fabulous. Now also, Coldstream sub-area of Middleton Mountain has an extensive trail system that starts at Kalamalka Beach and extends around the whole mountain. Kind of winds through the residential areas and goes up to the very top of the mountain for 360 degrees views over Coldstream and Vernon. And there are so many other great trails that we don't really have time to talk about. I guess in a future video, I better do one devoted solely to the trail systems because there's so many of them. Suffice it to say though, that the trails are excellent. And you know what else is excellent in Vernon? Golf. Where there's good weather, there's a long golf season. The golf courses open up in Vernon sometime mid-March usually and go sometime right until the end of October, weather dependent. That's a pretty long season. Now, Vernon itself may not have a ton of golf courses, however, the ones we have are really nice. Starting with the easiest, there is Hillview Golf Course, which is an 18-hole executive golf course. Vernon's only 18-hole executive golf course, actually. Then there's Spell Machine Golf and Country Club with an 18-hole championship course, as well as a 9-hole executive course, which is located just across from the historic O'Keefe Ranch. Then Vernon Golf and Country Club, also an 18-hole championship course, and it's a really cool course with its Lombardy poplars to look at or most likely hit with your golf ball, which make it a lot more challenging. And there's a creek running through the course. It's really nice and scenic. Now those 3 courses are pretty much on the flats, and then the next 2 are up overlooking Okanagan Lake, the Rise, and of course Predator Ridge. The Rise is at a high elevation. It's on the edge of Vernon and 1,000 feet above the lake. The golf course itself is carved into the mountain, and this one is a challenge for sure. However, the views are worth it. Then last but definitely not least is Predator Ridge Golf Resort, which is a true resort type of atmosphere. And they are currently building out more and more homes around the area. Predator itself has hosted not 1, but 2 skins games. The Predator course is an 18-hole links-style course set in the rolling mounds and hills with an extensive use of fescue. And then the Ridge course is the newer of the 2 courses, also 18 holes, and has some beautiful views of Okanagan Lake and has some big elevation changes throughout. So if you golf, Predator Ridge is more than enough reason to move to Vernon. 2 skins games. Now, if you're not into the outdoor activities of hiking, biking, or golfing, let's talk about the arts. There is a thriving art scene in Vernon. Maybe you didn't know that. Do you know there are 28 murals in Vernon on the side of buildings all over downtown? These murals are world renowned for their depiction of the history of our town over the years. They revolve around the history, the culture, scenery, and folklore that made Vernon what it is today. If you're interested and so inclined, you can take a mural tour and learn all about the history of Vernon through these incredible works of art. Then there's also the Vernon Community Arts Center, which is a facility providing arts classes and workshops, painting, pottery, glass, etc. There are all sorts of events and exhibits at the Arts Center throughout the year. Further to that, there's the Vernon Public Art Gallery, which is a center for educational and cultural activities in the Okanagan and has numerous exhibitions featuring emerging, mid-career, and established artists working in many styles of media. And those are just the beginning. There's also many other artsy places around Vernon, including the historic Katani Center, which is a 120-year-old heritage house that was a former home of Sveva Katani. Now, that's a story for another time, but that is a story. Anyhow, they sometimes hold tours of the property. That's very interesting. Also, Gallery Vertigo in downtown Vernon, Art Functional Gallery on the west side of Okanagan Lake, and Nadine's Fine Art Gallery and Frames. Then when it comes to theater and live performances, there's the Vernon Performing Arts Theater, Powerhouse Theater, and the Caravan Farm Theater out in Armstrong as well for an outdoor live theater experience. If you're interested in history, then the Vernon Museum and various tours may interest you, such as the historic O'Keefe Ranch, Mackey Lake House that was built in 1910 above Kalamalka Lake, and it hosts tours and concerts and afternoon teas, things like that. There's the Kalamalka Indigenous Garden overlooking Kalamalka Lake, the Canadian Wildlife Museum as well. And along those lines, actually, if you're interested in wildlife, there's also the Allen Brooks Nature Center, where you can learn more about nature and animals. Oh, and let's not forget the Okanagan Science Center, where, as they say, you can unleash your inner science nerd. And then there's wine, proximity to wine. First of all, I should mention we have a winery. Well, we have grapevines that are soon going to hopefully be a winery. In 3 or 4 years from now, they'll know if the grapes are going to successfully grow and be made into wine. And thereafter, with any luck, there will be an incredible winery with a tasting room, maybe a beautiful restaurant overlooking the lake. Actually, there's no plans for that yet. However, I'm sure if it's successful, it will turn into a beautiful winery. This is a really cool story, actually. Vernon, up until now, has vineyards. Not a ton, but a few. So you can grow grapes here. However, no one has attempted a real live winery. Why not? Over 80% of the BC wine production is in the Okanagan. Lake Country, only 20 minutes away, tons of wineries. And Lake Country has a similar topography to Vernon. North of us, also a bunch of wineries. Vernon, none. Well, until now. Well, almost now. The previous owner of the Plenty of Fish dating site, Marcus Friend, who also has a successful winery in West Kelowna, purchased 900 acres of land and numerous plots from Bella Vista Road to the north of Tronson Road. And he feels that this will be one of the most beautiful vineyards in the world. In fact, he thinks they can ripen Cab Sav there, which is one of the hardest grapes to ripen and typically only grown in Oliver and Osoyoos, which would open up all of Vernon for growing the most expensive and best grapes. He has 20 plus weather stations up and down the valley, and he actually says the area near the lake in Vernon is warmer than both Summerland and Naramata. How about that? He also says the land in Vernon is dirt cheap compared to everywhere else. Granted, he said this in 2020. Anyhow, hopefully soon we will see if the Cab Sav will take off, and if it does, Vernon is going to be on the map for wine for sure. And even if for some reason this doesn't work out, you're so close to Lake Country, 20 minutes from the beginning of established wine country all the way down to the border. Don't worry. You are never too far from a wine tour in Vernon. And that's a great reason in itself to move to Vernon, I think. Proximity to high-end alcohol. And with wine comes cheese, and cheese is food, which leads us to the next great reason to come to Vernon is the awesome restaurants around Vernon. Great places to eat. Most notably in 2022, Vernon was put on the eating map. We now have a Cactus Club. Brand spanking new, open for the first time October 13th, 2022, and it has been packed every single second since. Just a note, by the way, Kamloops doesn't have a Cactus Club. I think that's worth noting. Saying that, we have some great other restaurants in Vernon as well. The Med restaurant in downtown is one of our go-tos, that's for sure. They have a great happy hour, awesome Mediterranean cuisine. Intermezzo restaurant now has 2 locations, fine dining at its best. The Phoenix is a dynamite steakhouse right downtown as well. And we also have some killer ethnic restaurants, East Indian, and lots of sushi. Plus casual pub fare. And did I mention we have a Cactus Club? And Kamloops doesn't. Now, after you're all liquored up from your wine tour and you got a belly full of fine Vernon-made food, then you can go to Funtastic, which is our annual slow pitch tournament. Music festival and all-around drunk fest on the Canada Day long weekend. We're very proud of that because it's a shaker and a half. It's also Canada's largest slow pitch tournament. The main Vernon event is held at the DND Army Camp with slow pitch events happening on ball diamonds throughout the city. This event has been going on all the way since 1984, and they don't receive any government funding and instead host this annual fundraiser, which is mostly, if not all, run by volunteers and brings approximately $4.5 million in direct economic benefit to the local business community. And since the society started, has been able to contribute more than $2.1 million back to the community. Very cool and also fun. So obviously lots of fun stuff to do in Vernon, and that will be why Vernon is ranked one of the top places to live in Canada. In April of 2021, Maclean's magazine wrote that Vernon is the number 30 place to live in all of Canada, which translates into the 5th highest in BC and the best ranking outside of Vancouver Island. Vernon's top 3 features, according to the list, are internet access, health, and amenities. So for more information on why the poll showed Vernon as number 30 in Canada and number 1 in the entire Okanagan, be sure to watch our video called Where is the Best City to Live in the Okanagan? I didn't say it, McLean's did. They couldn't be wrong. Those are 8 more reasons to move to Vernon, BC. While you consider your decision, please download our free relocation package at vernonrelocation.com. And we hope soon to welcome you to Vernon.
Just